It is mid-July, 1518. The narrow, cobbled streets of Strasbourg are baking in an unseasonably brutal summer heat. A woman named Frau Troffea steps outside her half-timbered home. Without any music playing, she begins to dance. Her expression is blank, her movements frantic. She continues this violent, relentless jig for hours, until she collapses in a heap of pure physical exhaustion. But the moment she wakes, her limbs begin to twitch again, and she immediately forces herself back onto her swollen feet to resume the exact same motion. She is trapped in a compulsive, joyless loop. A physical compulsion has hijacked her nervous system, completely overriding her conscious control. To understand how a human body breaks down this way, we have to look at the environment surrounding it. For 3 consecutive years, alternating extreme heat and freezing cold had destroyed the region's harvests, leaving Strasbourg starving and flooded with destitute refugees. Look at the crowded, chaotic arrangement of figures in this woodcut from the era. It reflects a society where the English sweat and newly arrived syphilis were tearing through densely packed neighborhoods. To the 16th century mind, these disfiguring plagues were direct manifestations of divine wrath. The local population held a specific, terrifying superstition regarding Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers. The belief was that if you angered him, he would curse you with an agonizing, uncontrollable urge to jig. Decades of starvation, disease, and religious terror had pushed the city's inhabitants to the absolute limits of their psychological endurance. Frau Troffea's affliction quickly proved contagious. Within days, 34 other people, mostly women from the lower classes, were mimicking her frenzied motions. The city council panicked. They called in local physicians to determine if the city was facing a supernatural curse or a planetary astrological alignment. The doctors delivered a medical diagnosis based on humoral theory. The dancers were suffering from hot blood, an internal overheating of the body causing erratic physical spasms. Based on this diagnosis, the authorities concluded that the afflicted needed to dance themselves to health. The doctors declared the only way out of the mania was to physically exhaust the hot blood entirely. The city council mobilized a massive civic intervention. They cleared the grain markets, constructed heavy wooden dance floors, and hired professional pipers and drummers to set a high-tempo beat. They even paid professional strongmen to mingle with the crowd, lifting up the exhausted victims and forcing them to keep their feet moving when they started to collapse. But providing a stage and a rhythmic backbeat acted as a psychological accelerant. The loud, continuous drumming drew crowds of highly stressed onlookers into the exact spectacle they feared most. This 17th century engraving shows the event's scale. By August, 400 thrashed in a trance, weeping as boots filled with blood. The fatal cost was clear. Pushed beyond limits in punishing heat, 15 died daily of strokes and heart attacks. By trying to contain the affliction through organized public spectacle, the authorities provided the exact conditions needed to maximize its lethality. Recognizing their catastrophic error, the city council completely reversed course in early August. They dismantled the wooden stages and decreed a strict ban on all public music and dancing, threatening heavy fines for anyone who broke it. The surviving choreomaniacs were loaded into horse-drawn wagons and transported 27 miles out of the city, up to a mountaintop shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus. Here, in a quiet, solemn environment, the victims were given small crosses and red shoes, sprinkled with holy water. Stripped of the percussive drumming and the massive audience of their peers, the dancers finally stopped. The trance required the reinforcement of the crowd to sustain itself. This illustrates ergot, a psychotropic mold infecting damp rye crops and producing toxic alkaloids. Historians long suspected this food poisoning triggered the event. Chemically similar to LSD, these alkaloids induce hallucinations and tremors, but critically, they cause severe vasoconstriction, restricting blood flow to the extremities. This severe loss of blood circulation results in agonizing gangrene. It physically debilitates its victims, making days of continuous, high-impact dancing anatomically impossible. The evidence points away from a contaminated food supply and toward the minds of a deeply traumatized population. Today, psychologists classify the 1518 event as a case of mass psychogenic illness. It is a dissociative trance state that sweeps through a highly suggestible group facing unendurable chronic stress. The mind fractures under the weight of the trauma, and the resulting physical breakdown takes the shape of the community's deepest fears. They expected Saint Vitus to punish them with a dancing curse, so their bodies unconsciously fulfilled the prophecy. The dancing plague is a testament to the raw power of the human nervous system. When a society breaks, the mind can command the body to dance itself into the grave.